It is not just about giving the right answer. It's also about giving it in right way in interviews to impress recruiters. There is a difference. I'm sure that most of you have come across a scenario in their life where they attend interviews and they think they performed well, but unfortunately, they won't hear back from the recruiting team, or they would hear that they are not selected. What could be the reason? So, when you are confident enough that you answered most of the questions, but if you are still not selected, then the way how you are answering is wrong. Let's retrospect it. First of all, if you don't have an answer for any question asked by the recruiter, then it's better to say confidently no than blabbering by giving the wrong answer. This is very important. This is the same mistake done by most of the people, because we are not in the college or school to pretend like we know the answer but we forgot about it, right? Some people blabber and try to give some random answer just to behave or act like they know the solution for it. But trust me, that will mess up at big time, because you are not only showcasing that you don't know the answer what interviewer asked, you are also showcasing that you don't know the other concept also when you link some other random concept to the answer what they were asking. Okay, you are exposing in multiple ways that you have no knowledge on the area what they were asking, right? For example, if the people ask you question on encapsulation in Java, but if you just pretend that you know it, and if you try to give some random answer about inheritance for this question, then you will mess up big time, because you are just not only showing them that you don't know about encapsulation, and you are also proving that you don't know about inheritance, right? And the next question will drive into the inheritance because you have answered it wrongly. So this way it will be completely deviated, and they will start getting impression that you don't have enough knowledge. Instead, if you don't know the answer, it is better to say straightforward that you don't have enough idea on it. But instead of saying no, there is very better way to put it, like I didn't get a chance to work on encapsulation in my frameworks in the previous project. This is professional way to say no. Okay, they understand that you don't know it, but the way you put really matters. Okay, so you can say like that you didn't get a chance, or it's been long time you have done that and you have to revise to just grab the basics about it, right? Put that in a nice sentence, a reasonable sentence, instead of saying I don't know about it. Okay, so you are attending a professional interview. Even saying no also should be a professional, but please don't give some random answer and expose yourself that you are clueless in many aspects, right? This is the first step. And the next one, especially in QA automation interviews, you will be asked to write one coding program. So if you really don't know how to solve that coding program, just say that, or I'm not able to think at this moment, right? But instead, most of the people try to act like they know that, and they eat the valuable interview time. So that's more important. So let's say they're prepared for 20 questions, and if you really give them time to ask the 20, and one or two programs is on coding, that's fine. If you answered 18 questions correct, and if you miss answering that coding question, by end of the interview, they would have some positive impression that you try to cover most of the other questions, right? But if you pretend that you know that, and if you sit 15 minutes on it, solving that simple coding program, and finally you end up saying that you don't know, then you are not only wasting interviewer time, they didn't get a chance to scrutinize you fully. So obviously they'll end up asking only 6 or 7 questions, and there is no way that you can be selected. If you really think that you can do better apart from coding, within 5 to 7 minutes, if you think that you cannot solve it, just leave it. Let them shoot other questions on you and try to answer them confidently, so that by end of the interview, they would at least have an impression that this guy made up most of the questions except 1 or 2, instead of leaving it nowhere of spending 15-20 minutes of time. Okay, think about it. It will really make sense, guys. Tip number 3. So don't argue with interviewer. When they come up with set of questions, they will also knowing answers to that questions, right? And you are the not the only one guy who they interviewed. Same questions they have interviewed to many people, and they know the vast variety of answers one can give for that question. And when they say it is wrong, don't try to convince them or don't try to argue them. More importantly, they will get some negative experience on you when you start arguing or when you start being over smart than the interviewer on solving the question. Okay, so we should be less smarter than them. At least we should act in that way. Okay, all this matters. And whenever you are speaking with them, make sure you talk in a pleasant manner or have always smile on your face, because you are the guy who is going to work in their team. The way you talk, the way you communicate will really have an impact, because they have to imagine you in their team. Okay, so if you are a dull or reserved, if you have such kind of body language, then that will have negative impact though you have answered many questions. And the last tip, when people ask you that tell me about yourself, this is the first question they ask, right? So try to answer it most on the technical side. Don't talk much about your project domain experience. Like in the last project I worked on the bank, and this bank have these many transactions, these many credit cards. Don't talk about all that. They don't need it. They only need your technical abilities. So what you did in the last project is their question. Okay, so that means what technical work you did. So you should tell the good things about how you have performed than talking about your previous project domain. Okay, so when you talk about your technical things, that will be the first impression they will get, like how good you are. And make sure you talk only about the topics which you are aware of, because the next question what they ask might come from the topics what you spoke on your previous experience. So if you're an automation engineer, tell them that you did UI automation, you did API automation. But if you bring DevOps into picture, if they ask first question on the DevOps, you should be able to answer it. If you fail there, then that's where things go wrong from the straight first point. So whatever you speak, prepare a story before going interview, and the keywords what you use, you should be very confident and strong about those topics, because the questions arise from the initial discussion what you put. So these are the different tips you have to follow. So be smart, follow all the tips. I'll also make one video explaining how you should talk on your initial roles and responsibilities in one of my further tech podcast videos. All right, good luck.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit on bell icon to get the latest updates on QA automation side.